Molly, I just heard the big news from my brother. Congratulations on getting engaged. If it isn't Christy. I heard from my family that you and him have been together for about 3 months now, but thinking that you'd both already be thinking about marriage is pretty crazy to me. I hear that you both plan to have the wedding in another 2 months at a restaurant? Yeah. I almost feel as though he wants to get married to me so badly that he has no patience left in himself. Well, you are living pretty close to our family's house, and you have been for a long time now. And even though he's 10 years older than me and you guys have known each other for so long that it's almost as though you've been dating a lot longer than 3 months. So I don't find you guys getting married too strange. It's just crazy is all. Would you shut up, please? Huh? Ugh, I've had enough of this. It's beginning to become a huge bother for me, so I think I'm going to call it quits. You and I are no longer friends. Molly. Listen, back in the day, you were really a good friend of mine and all, but ever since you had to start sitting in that wheelchair 2 years ago, it's been a pain in my butt being friends with you. Huh? For some reason, everyone seems to think it's okay to have me be the one to take care of you all the time, just because we were good friends and I live near you. And as for my parents, I have no idea why, but it seems like they feel some kind of obligation to have me help you around and such. So, whatever, I guess. The only reason I've been able to stick around and care for you this long is because I've been after that really top-notch man that you happen to be related to. Stick around? The only reason that I've been around helping you is so that I could get your brother to start taking an interest in me. He's known about me for a long time, but not enough to have any interest in me. But I felt that if I showed him that I'm a caring person by pushing you around and being a good friend of yours, he'd really start taking a liking to me. And guess what? He has taken a huge liking to me, and so I have no use for you anymore. What are you talking about? You were just using me so that you could get closer to my brother and get him to like you? That's what I'm saying. But listen here. Don't you dare go telling him about that, or else I'll push you and that wheelchair down a flight of stairs. Because if he learns that I've only been caring for you to get to him, he might not love me anymore. The only reason he wants to marry me is because he thinks I'm selfless and caring towards people like you. And to be honest, even if you did start to talk to him about what I've said, I doubt he'll believe you. He'll probably just turn around and tell you to stop talking badly about the woman he loves. So this is the way you've thought of me all along? How else did you want me to think of you? Do you really think I am the kind of person that is happy with sacrificing their time just to help a cripple with no reward in sight? I was only using you like a tool so that I could get your brother to fall for me like he has, and then proceed to marry him. And would you look at that? It worked! I've heard enough from you. I understand what I mean to you now, and so I've had enough. Even if you are being true about how you feel about me, it's not going to matter. I know that I can live perfectly fine on my own without your help, and I'm going to start that life right now. Huh? I am thankful that you helped me find a job after I ended up in this wheelchair. And because of that, I'm able to make some decent money. I'll have to start thinking about what I'm going to do when I go out and plan it all out well, but I'm so used to that now that I don't need you there to help me. And honestly, there are other people besides you that can help me if I need it. So you are no longer needed by me, Molly. Thank you for everything up until now. Christy, do you have some time? I know that you're already aware that tomorrow's wedding is going to be held at a restaurant, but I have to ask, are you alright with not showing up for it? I'm sure you are, right? Huh? It's been a little while since we last talked, and this is what you want to talk about? You're asking me to stay away on the day of my brother's wedding? I'm sorry, but that's a little strange of you to be asking his own little sister. All I'm asking is that you tell everyone that you're not feeling too well, and that that's the reason for you not making it to the wedding tomorrow. However, if you really want to come tomorrow, then you'd better be walking into the wedding. Because you coming in that wheelchair of yours will embarrass me in front of my family. From what I've read, the restaurant is fully accessible to those in wheelchairs, so... But what I'm saying is that wheelchairs are not allowed in my wedding. I don't want my family and friends knowing that within the family I'm marrying into, there's a cripple in a wheelchair. You do realize that both you and I share a lot of friends, so why is it a huge problem now if they know? I don't care about that. I'm talking about what'll happen tomorrow. There are going to be people coming tomorrow that don't know about you or your wheelchair, and I want it to stay that way. Are you going to understand what I'm asking you right now? I am marrying your brother because I think he is the perfect man, but when it comes to his little sister, I only see you as being a stain on his reputation that I don't want people looking at. All right. Fine, I'll stay here at home tomorrow while you all enjoy the wedding. Go ahead and remove my name from the guest list. And there's one other thing. I'd like for you to leave your parents' house for good as well. Why should I do that? I'm sure you're well aware that after I marry your brother, I'm going to be moving into your parents' house with him and your parents. But you are in the way of that. If I have to move into that house with you still living there, then things are going to stay the same as they've been for the past 2 years, and I'm going to have to care for your needs. So before the wedding finishes tomorrow, I want you out of that house.
Christy.
Huh? Ryan? You're at home right now with me, so why are you choosing to text me instead of coming over to my room?
Well, right now Mom and Dad are in the living room, and I don't want them to hear what I want to say to you. For right now, at least. Okay? Just a second ago, I saw that you were texting someone on your phone, and you had a pretty miserable looking face.
Well, yeah.
I'm sorry, but when I saw you looking that way, I walked by and took a quick look at your phone screen. Were you talking with Molly? I saw that she told you that tomorrow's wedding wouldn't allow wheelchairs. And that she asked you to not show up to the wedding tomorrow, right? What the hell is up with all that?
You saw all of that from her then?
I really want you to be able to tell me everything about what's going on between you two.
Christy! Hey! What the hell is going on over here? What are you talking about? I just showed up to the restaurant in my wedding dress, but there isn't a single soul here. I am the bride, after all, and so I had to go and get my dress on and do my makeup and hair and everything, so I was expecting to get here when everyone else was already showing up. But my mom and dad, my aunts and uncles, even my cousins, and not just all of my family, but Ryan's family as well, and even our friends. Not a single one of them is here right now to celebrate my wedding. And not just all of them, but even Ryan's not here right now to see me. The restaurant isn't even open right now either. How the hell am I going to get in there? Tell me what the actual hell is going on right now. Molly, what are you even going on about right now? I thought that the wedding had been canceled and that everyone had already been informed, including you. Huh? Yesterday evening, my brother went over to your place and there he talked with your parents about everything and about how the wedding would be canceled and that he'd no longer be engaged to you. And to make sure that the reservation and all the food that's already been prepared doesn't go to waste, Ryan is having his boss and the rest of the company come there and throw a small party while enjoying all that food. Huh? What the frick are you talking about, Christy? Last night, Ryan did end up coming over to my place for a bit, but he was here to talk to my parents about the wedding today and to tell them that wheelchairs would not be allowed at the wedding. And he told them that meant you wouldn't be able to come. And before he left, he told them that what all that meant was exactly how it sounded. Well, he had a very serious look on his face. Molly, are you going to be okay? What are you talking about? Why are you asking me that? Are you sure you listened in on everything that my brother said to your parents last night? I did. That's what I just told you. And from what I heard, Ryan agreed with what I said about you and what I was asking for. And so he was here to let my parents know that you wouldn't be showing up at the wedding. Well, you're right to think that the conversation they had was about me not being able to come to the wedding and that I'd ultimately be taken off the guest list. But my brother was actually protesting to your parents about how you used me to get closer to him, and that he knew you didn't actually care about me whatsoever, and that was all due to me being in this wheelchair. Huh? He protested? Ryan is telling me that he's going to talk with you now, so you go ahead and talk with him about this.
Molly?
Ryan, is that you?
What exactly do you think that conversation with your parents yesterday meant?
What did I think it meant? I thought you were talking with my parents about how your sister and her wheelchair are in our way, and that for the sake of our happy future, you wouldn't be allowing her to come to our wedding.
That's only what you want to think. The reason I was there last night is because the way you talked about my sister is not acceptable. And I had to complain to your parents about that.
Huh?
And just a quick side note, you didn't listen to a single thing yesterday during my conversation with them, because all you did was sit on the couch in the other room looking at your phone the whole time.
I just assumed that you guys were done talking about the important stuff.
Well, unfortunately, we were only getting started with the important stuff. Stuff like how I'm no longer going to be marrying you.
You're joking, right?
Hey, Molly, I know that you're aware that Christy is the person that saved your life. But for you to talk to her like she means nothing to you after what she did is just terrible. And it shocked me to my core.
Huh? She saved my life? What are you talking about now?
Huh? Wait a sec. Are you kidding me? You never even realized something like that either this whole time?
Huh? What?
This is just...
Ryan! What the hell are you talking about?
How about you just get your butt back to my place and then we could talk about all of this face to face? I'm sorry, but this isn't something I can talk about through text.
This is all just a joke, right? When I was about to fall down those stairs, you stepped in to save me? Molly, back then you were talking a whole lot with someone else while walking and you never noticed the flight of stairs ahead of yourself. I tried to yell at you to look out for the stairs as you continued to chat with your friend, but you didn't seem to be listening to a word I was saying. So when you were about to lose your footing and fall all the way down those stairs, I reached in to help you fall back towards the hallway, which then led to me falling all the way down that flight of stairs instead. Back then, I had just assumed you were trying to be a little jerk by hitting me in the chest with your arm and that you got what you deserved by falling down those stairs right after. So that's why you ended up in the wheelchair. My parents made me take care of you for the next 2 years, as though we were obligated to do so for you. For the longest time, I didn't want you to feel responsible for me ending up like this, so I never talked to you about what happened that day. But to actually think that by not talking to you about what happened, you just assumed I was trying to mess with you and that I was the one that fell down those stairs for it? But I just don't... I'm going to be very honest with you about this now, since things have changed so much between us. Molly, you never seem to care about what other people are saying to you, do you? You always like to make everything seem as though it's about you, and then anything that doesn't have anything to do with you directly, you just forget about or change. Huh? You think that that's... When my brother was talking about how he wasn't going to marry you anymore, you did the same thing. When he was at your house talking with you and your parents, he was very upset with you. But you changed what was going on in your mind so that it looked as though he was just there to agree with you on not wanting me to come to the wedding because of my wheelchair. Is that right? I see. You're probably not going to be able to understand all of this right away. Well, I'm sorry, but with the way you've become, I no longer want to have anything to do with you. Huh? I'm not sure if after all this is over, you'll be able to think hard about what you've done and change your ways due to all of it. But as of right now, I'm having a really hard time believing that you've said so many terrible things to me, yet have not once said an apology to me for it. Well, then what the hell should I do? Right now it seems like nobody is going to be on my side after what you've all done. And you should take the time to think about why that is, although at this point, you're probably not even listening to the advice I'm giving. Anyway, I know I'm the kind of person that's able to put up with a lot of crap, but this has all gone way too far. I want you to stay away from me forever now. Christy! A few days after what had gone down, Molly's parents were kind enough to give Ryan a lot of money for all the time and effort that Molly had wasted of his, and then moved away from being near our house. And as of now, Molly has been moved into her godmother's house, somewhere way out of town, as neither of her parents are willing to house her anymore after the embarrassment and shame she brought them. Her godmother is having her go to therapy now after what she said to me, and after not having any recollection of what I did for her to save her life. And hopefully with time, Molly is going to be able to find an answer to why she's so self-centered, and to how she'll be able to make up for her mistakes. What she had done really did mess both myself and Ryan up mentally, but the two of us are working hard together to get over what happened to us. And another thing to do with me. I've been told that if I continue to go through rehabilitation for a while longer, I might actually have a chance of walking again. And so, as of right now, I'm putting all my attention on going to rehab and working towards a future where I no longer have to think about what I sacrificed to save Molly. Thank you for watching and listening. We hope you enjoyed the video. Don't forget to like this video and subscribe. Also, feel free to leave a comment about what you thought of the story. We look forward to seeing you at the next story.
Hello. Is this phone number by any chance Henry's wife's number? You go by Sandy, right? Hello? Do you have any idea what's happened with Henry? As far as I'm aware, Henry went to a class reunion for one of his classes back in middle school, right? So he's gone back to his hometown for it. Well, I happen to be one of his longtime friends and was in the same class as him in middle school. You can call me Emily. It's a really cute name, right? Your name is Emily? Well, I guess it's cute. But to be honest with you, I know hundreds of Emilys, and I'm not really sure the name itself is that cute. What a buzzkill! So, Emily, when are you going to get on with telling me why you're wanting to talk with me right now? Huh? I'm going to assume that you are talking to me right now because you took my phone number from his phone and copied it into yours? I happen to know Henry pretty well, and I'm sure he wouldn't just be handing out my information to you and ask you to text me. So can you please just tell me why you want to talk? For some reason, I'm getting a bad vibe from you. Well, whatever. I'll tell you what I want from you right now, then. And it's nothing that I really want from you, but rather what I want to tell you about me. I've gone and taken your husband home from the class reunion. Huh? What are you going on about? You have no idea. In other words, I'm having a little after party with him in this hotel room. That's all. Huh? Listen to this. At first, I was looking to take a completely different man away from that reunion to make my lover, you know? But that dick was with another old fart of a woman, and when I came over to talk to him, she began to bark in my face. Ugh. At that point, I was about to give up and thought me going to that reunion was going to be completely pointless. But as I was thinking that, I turned to see my old friend Henry. All that nasty skin he had on his face before, covered in all these little red pimples, had cleared right up and he was looking sexy. And as for those stupid little round glasses that he was wearing before, they'd been replaced by a stylish pair of brown J-bands. And his choice of clothing? Oh, perfect. Totally stylish. I knew this would be my only chance to see him, and so I made him my new target and started my hunt. And within a few hours, I had him in my grasp, coming to this hotel with me. And during that time, did you know about the fact that Henry is married? I knew that, and I learned about it while bringing him to the hotel room. Actually, I've known about the fact that he's been married for a while now, as I still talk to his parents every so often. Anyway, I haven't seen Henry in over 7 years because he and I are just never around one another. And anytime I'm talking to his mom or dad, he's not in town. So you've done all of this while knowing he's married? I really wanted him to be with me, so I had no other choice. When I told him that he's my first love, he began to cry about how much he wanted to treat me nicely and hugged me as we walked to the hotel. And why are you telling me all of this now? Knowing very well that I'm his wife and that I have been married to him for a while now. You know why I'm telling you about this. There's only one thing I'd want, and that's for you and Henry to get a divorce. And then you can hand him over to me so that I can have him forever. You want me to give him to you? You already stole him from me. How could I hand something over to you, or someone, when you've already gone and stole them from me? I just told you, though. He's always loved me, and even though I told him he's my first love, he came out and said he had this huge crush on me back in school. In other words, that means he and I are meant for one another. And that also means that he's always been mine, so I didn't steal him from you. Now that we've run into one another again, and I'm with him now, I'd like you to give him back. So hurry up and get that divorce so I can have him. I guess if he's always had that crush on you, then he was never mine to begin with. So I get what you're wanting to say here. Now, I never really knew about how he looked back in the day, but these days Henry is doing pretty good for himself. He happens to work for a very large company that is partners with other companies all over the globe. I'm sure you already knew about that, though, as well. And about how he's expected to be bringing in around $100,000 a year now with his job? Well, of course, all of that only adds to how amazing he is. And that's why I'm in love with him. And he's in love with me because I'm cute and precious to him. No mistaking that. So, that means he has no need for you anymore. As long as you go through with a divorce, then everything about him will come to me, and I can finally have my man. So hurry it up and get that divorce, please. I'll give you an answer to that after I've had a conversation with Henry about all of this. He said he'd be coming home tomorrow, so I'll sit him down and have a talk with him. Please let him know that, since you're actually right there with him. Will do. But I already know that Henry wants this divorce, so no matter what you try to do, he's going to leave. Henry, right about now you should be back home from your hometown, right? Where are you?
I'm at Emily's apartment.
Is that right? So it's true then? That you ended up running into your old friend from middle school that you always had a crush on and she took you to a hotel last night?
I'm sorry.
So I can take this as you saying you want to get a divorce then?
Yeah.
You have anything else to say to me? Anything at all?
Well, when it comes to you, Sandy, you really are an amazing woman. You say that you can do anything and everything on your own, and that's no lie. You really are able to do everything. So, for myself, well, you happen to support me with both my work and with my private life equally. I'm totally thankful that you've always been there for me helping out, and I want you to know that, but when it comes to the person who knows me best and knows how to please me the most, I'd have to say it's Emily. Also, when it came to her, she's always been in love with me ever since middle school. And she just confessed that to me yesterday at the class reunion.
I see. So the reason you and her ended up being in that hotel room yesterday and why you're over at her apartment now is because you both have liked each other since middle school?
So, I want you to know that whether it was back in middle school or even now, I've always been thinking about Emily, and have always wanted her to be my wife.
All right, I understand. But just because of that reasoning, I don't think we can get a divorce.
Why not?
Even if you and her ended up having a wonderful night with one another, this is a good example of you being unfaithful to me. So I can't just have this settled with a simple divorce. I'm going to make sure I have you and her pay your dues to me through settlements for this, and I'd like to tell both my parents about this and yours.
Well, actually, I was planning on doing the same thing.
One other thing. Since the both of us are working for the same company in the same office, I'm going to have to report what's happened to us to my manager. And I think you should be doing the same then.
Ah, that's right.
I think that you should be prepared to have a lot of people giving you the side eye and things like that after they hear about what you've done.
I guess there's no helping any of that, is there? All right.
Now I'm going to get myself a lawyer and we will sit down and discuss what needs to be done and go through all the paperwork. Once I've had time to talk with my lawyer about all of this and about the money that I can get from both you and Emily, then I'll go ahead and contact you again. Along with that, I'll hand in the divorce paperwork to the courthouse.
All right.
Sandy, thank you so much for getting that divorce with Henry. And by the way, I only just found out about this a little bit ago, but you happen to be 6 years older than Henry, and you work in a higher position than him with that company? That's right. I first met him when he joined the company, as I was in charge of training him, and after some time we grew closer to one another and got married. Well then, you're aware that he's in a much better place now being with someone like me rather than with some old fart like you. And as for yourself, now that you've been divorced by a younger man, that pretty much means that that's it for you, and you'll never be with another man again, right? But don't worry. I'll make sure that Henry is very happy with me and that you are kept up to date on that. Just to make sure you don't get super jealous of us, all right? I'm not going to mind you sending me a text about how you feel as though you've come out on top over me. But shouldn't you be a bit more concerned about what's been going on with him? Huh? Oh, no way. Are you going to try and say to me that you know more about Henry than his longtime friend does? Well, I'm sorry, Sandy. I just got home from handing in our marriage papers to the courthouse with him, so this pretty much means game over for you. You've barely even been around him recently, and you're already jumping to marriage? You both haven't seen one another for 7 years, and you thought it was all right to just marry him like that? Are you both going to be okay? I feel like you two should have at least taken a bit more time to get to know one another again. Come on now. You're not going to ever get him back from me, so stop holding on to these feelings. Your time is up, you old fart. He's thrown you away for a much more cute and young girl, and he'd never turn around and go back to you. Hello? What do you want now? What the hell is going on here? What do you mean by here? I'm talking about Henry. What is all of this? Why the hell is this happening? Can you explain what's going on there in a little more detail? Why is he sleeping in so much? His alarm had gone off 4 times before he finally got up and started getting ready for work. And he didn't even bother to wash his face or shave. His hair is still a mess from the pillow, and he's just going to head to work like that? Also, why the hell is he farting so much all the dang time? And when it comes to his work clothes, he just takes them off and leaves them on the floor. Same thing goes for his dishes. He doesn't even bother to turn off the lights either when he leaves a room. And after using the bathroom, he doesn't flush the toilet. And what's worse than any of this? He doesn't even have a good sense of fashion. What the hell happened to the man I saw at the middle school reunion a while ago?
Oh no, this is all happening a lot quicker than I was expecting.
Huh? What do you mean?
He already had problems when in the house with me, never having manners that you'd think an adult his age should have. But at work, he tends to be just as bad, never wearing proper clothing for the job and always farting really loudly in his cubicle. I'm going to assume that he never took his clothing chart with him over to your place? Or that he isn't even bothering to look at it anymore now that he's with you?
His clothing chart?
It's this whole grid that tells him what shirts go with what pants and about what ties to wear and what jackets.
What? Was that all written down inside that sketchbook he had brought along with him to my place?
That's the one. I'm sure you already know about how much of a slob he is when it comes to his manners, since you've known him far longer than I have. But he's especially bad when it comes to his sense of fashion, and that's why we had a chart made up for him. I made this whole chart for him that would tell him what clothes to go with what and what days to wear that set on.
What? So then, that means that the man I saw at the reunion...
You always said it like he had done that by himself, but in reality, I was the one that got him dressed up like that and made him look more appealing.
What the hell?
You are more than welcome to use that chart with him to maintain a good look on him that otherwise he will never create by himself alone.
But I threw it away.
Really?
Anything that I thought had to do with you, I threw in the trash can outside. And that includes the clothing chart you made for him, along with some of the clothing I thought you bought for him.
All right then, so you're saying that you no longer have any of the things that helped him look as good as he once did?
Sandy, please, can you please get Henry back to the handsome-looking man he was before he came over to my apartment?
Well, that happens to be your job now, since you are his wife and all. As you had told me before, you happen to know him way better than I do, having been around him since middle school, and so I'm sure you'd be far better at helping him out than I am. Right?
Well, about that, can I at least have you buy him a few more sets of clothing and make up another clothing chart?
That's not going to happen.
Why not?
I am not going to take care of the man who ran off with another girl who asked me to divorce him after. I'm no longer related to anything that has to do with him, but I know someone who is, and that's you, Emily. And another thing, 2 weeks ago I made the choice to transfer.
Transfer?
Recently I was promoted from department manager into a regional manager, and so I have a change of responsibilities now.
So, you were moved to a different location?
Yep. I'm very thankful for that as well. Thankful for the divorce, I mean. Because I no longer had to be married to Henry, I was free to do as I pleased, which includes moving to another town.
What?
So because I'm no longer working in the same office building, I've moved out of that town and am about 2.5 hour drive away. And because I'm now a regional manager, I have even less time to worry about what's going on in the lives of two strangers.
No way. The way Henry is right now, if he doesn't change, I'm not going to be happy.
Well, if that's the case, then he might need his new wife to start working on some strategies that'll help him get back to the man she loved him as. Good luck with that. A few days after that, due to no longer having me around to support his bad habits, Henry started to have a lot of problems with HR at work due to his poor style and manners. And only a few days after he had been talked to by HR, he and Emily got a divorce. Apparently, the only way the divorce worked out was because Emily had to force him into signing the papers. after he had cried and cried about how he couldn't live without her. Due to the reality that the girl he had always loved since middle school turned her back on him and kicked him out of her life, only a little bit after getting married, Henry has gotten very depressed. And because of this, he never left his place and soon lost his job. When it comes to Emily, she wasn't working at the time she took Henry from me, and so after kicking him out, she no longer had the money to pay her rent, and ran back home to her parents looking for help. But they both told her to get out of their faces as they had disowned her not too long ago. She was last seen running away from her hometown for good, and ever since then, nobody has heard a thing about her.